Hi everyone, my name is Dorothea. I'm a digital artist working for animation industry as character and background designer. And before we start, there is a quick note. If you're looking for an artist for your project, maybe you're looking for artists to commission artwork, so feel free to reach out. I'm currently open for commissions for freelance work, and you can contact me through the Instagram DMs or by email. I'd love to help and work with you. Thank you. Now let's talk about our topic. Let's talk honestly. What does it actually mean to be an artist in 2026? Because from the outside, it often looks like a dream job. People imagine that artists spend their days just drawing beautiful pictures, being creative, and somehow magically getting paid for it. And yes, creativity is a huge part of it, but the reality is much more complicated, and I don't know why really nobody talks about it. I wanted to make this video because I know there are lots of artists watching this and feeling overwhelmed by all these things in our sphere, feeling exhausted, feeling lost, and maybe you're struggling to find your job. Maybe you're questioning your talent. Maybe you're wondering why everything feels so difficult. And I feel this too. If that's you, I want you to know that you're not alone. Being an artist today often feels like having several full-time jobs at the same time. First, you have to actually create your art. You need to improve your skills, you need to practice, build your portfolio, work on personal projects, I wish, and stay creative. Second, you have to find actual job. You have to apply for jobs, send emails, networking, search for clients, update your portfolio again, and somehow figure out how you're going to pay your big bills next month. Third, you have to market yourself, of course, because if nobody knows you exist, it's incredibly difficult for opportunities to find you. You need social media, you need visibility, you need to post your work, make videos, share your process, talk about yourself, and constantly remind people that you are here. And honestly, this part can feel really exhausting for everyone. I sometimes envy people who don't need to stand in front of the camera and constantly prove that you are talented enough, skilled enough, worthy enough. Sometimes it feels like you're climbing the same mountain over and over again, waving your arms and saying to everyone, "Hey, I'm here, please don't forget about me, can you see me?" And it's really hard. And here's something I've been thinking a lot lately. I don't think it's enough anymore to simply be talented. I'm sorry. Because there are so many incredibly talented artists out there, so many people who can paint beautiful designs, amazing characters, I don't know, create some stunning environments and tell stories through the work. And actually, talent is everywhere. The challenge is getting people to notice it because we are living in the age of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and endless scrolling. Every day, people come home from work, sit on their couch, open their phones, and consume hundreds, maybe thousands pieces of content. And somehow, in the middle of all that noise, you're hoping they will stop for a second and notice your work. Maybe you spent 10 hours painting your beautiful environment. Maybe you spent entire weekend designing your character, and maybe you poured your heart into your personal project, and all you're asking for is one moment of attention, one click, I don't know, one view, one comment, please. And that's really weird. That's strange reality of being an artist today. And it's not enough to create something beautiful anymore. You also have to convince people that you really were something. You have to be visible, you have to be memorable, you have to compete for attention. And sometimes it feels like you're not only competing with other artists for attention, you're competing with the entire internet. And whether we like it or not, but visibility has become part of our job. There is something important I'd like to say here. Popularity is not the same thing as talent. And I think a lot of artists really need to hear that. Just because someone has hundred thousands of followers doesn't really mean that he's a better artist than someone with 50 or 500 followers. There are artists with decades of experience creating incredible work who barely have an audience online, and there are creators with huge audience, sponsorships, commissions, clients who have built incredible visibility around their work. Those are two completely different skills. Artistic skill and audience building are not the same thing. The problem is, in today's world, they are often connected. The artist with the biggest audience will often receive more opportunities, more clients, more attention than the artist who just quietly creating masterpieces in his bedroom. And that can be frustrating. But I think it's really important to remember that social media numbers measure visibility, not talent. So stop waiting until you became better with your skills, until you start creating some masterpieces, because it's just wasting your time. And also, there is another layer. You can't stop learning. The moment you become comfortable, the industry changes. New software appears, new trends, new expectations appear for artists, and you keep investing time and money into become better all the time, because standing still isn't really an option for any artist. Another thing is that we have to remember that passion alone doesn't pay bills. It doesn't pay rent, it doesn't buy your groceries. And as artists, we really need stability. We need income, we need to build our future, we need to see our future. And when all those responsibilities pile up together, it can really feels overwhelming. I work in animation, and one thing people don't always realize that a lot of work in animation is project based. A project ends, and then you start looking for the next one, and next one, and next one. And sometimes, before your current project is even over, you're already applying for the next opportunity because you don't know what happens next. You don't know that you would have income. It's almost like you're constantly running a race that never fully ends. And if you're not active enough, if you're not visible enough, networking, applying enough, it can feel like you're falling behind. And that uncertainty can be exhausting, really. The constant search for stability can be really mentally draining, and I think that's why so many artists dream about having a stable studio position, a place where they can focus totally on creating art instead of constantly worrying about the future, about their money, about income. But even this isn't easy, because especially in United States, where competition for full-time artist position is incredibly high, and there are so many talented artists who competing for the same opportunity. And while you're dealing with all that, another thought often appears in the back of your mind: what will happen to this profession like in 10 years? What will happen because of all these technologies, because of AI, because of how everything changes so quickly? And how can you not feel stressed sometimes because of that? And how can you not worry about your future? And that's exactly why I think it's so important for artists to support each other, to be kind to each other, to encourage beginners, to build communities, to share someone's work when you can do it, to leave even a simple comment, because none of us should really have to do this alone. And something else I have recently realized for myself, that I'd like to build something for myself that belongs to me, and not because I'd like to become famous and I need your attention for the sake of attention all the time, just because I really want something that I can lean on during difficult times like this, and something that exists beyond a single contract or a single project. And that is why I've started thinking more about creating and building my own personal brand. I know it takes years. I know that most of that work won't pay off immediately. That's okay. Every creator goes through that stage, and If people know who I am, if they recognize my work, if I have their trust, and if I can build a community around my work, that is something nobody can take away from me. That is stability, and maybe that's one of the most valuable things an artist can build today. And despite everything I said today, I really think that being an artist is one of the most rewarding professions in the world, because it's really incredible to create something from nothing. It's incredible to spend your life making stories, making characters, creating worlds that didn't even exist before. And yes, it's difficult. Sometimes it can be frustrating. Sometimes it can be scary, but it's also beautiful. And honestly, one thing that keeps me going is realizing that every single person who chooses this path is already incredibly brave. You decided to be an artist, you decided to create, you decided to show it to the world, you decided to risk failure. That takes courage, and so give yourself credit for that. People today are really interested not only in your skills, not only in your pictures, they are interested in your personality too, your story, and the way you see the world. And I truly believe that artists who stay after rejection, become stronger because of it. Every setback teaches you something, every failure makes you stronger, and that is true. And maybe that's the difference between the people who eventually succeed and people who just give up. Not talent, not luck, just persistence. I truly believe that if you keep showing up, if you keep improving your skills, if you keep moving forward, you can achieve far more than you think. And sometimes success is simply refusing to quit. Sometimes it is just continuing when everyone else stopped. Yes, it is hard. And honestly, I don't think enough people talk enough about how hard it is, but if it were easy, everyone else would do it. Everyone would become successful artists, everyone would build their dream career. And the reality is that most people quit long before they get where they want to be. So maybe your job isn't to be the most talented person. Maybe your job is simply to be one of the people who didn't give up. So the one who kept going, who kept believing, creating, and believing yourself. That is important. And if you're watching this right now, I hope that you are that person. I hope that out of everyone who started, you are the one who continues, who believes in yourself, and because world still needs your art, and your art deserves to be seen. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to hear your stories, your thoughts, your experience in the comments, and tell me more, what has been an artist in 2026 been like for you? Let's talk about it. Thank you. Bye.